Welcome to Faith Light, where the profound truths of faith illuminate life's hidden corners. Every step we take in life is shaped by the seeds we plant, seeds of actions, thoughts, and intentions. As the ancient wisdom declares, what you sow, you will surely reap. This isn't just a saying, but a spiritual law that governs the universe. Today, we'll explore how karma and divine justice operate to teach lessons that words often cannot convey. When enemies rise against the chosen ones, they may believe they act in secret or with impunity, but the wheels of divine justice are always turning. Each jealous word, malicious act, and harmful intent plants a seed that will eventually bloom, often in ways that leave the guilty reeling. But remember, the chosen don't need to retaliate. Their silence and steadfast faith allow God to work in extraordinary ways. So, as we dive deep into this message of redemption, justice, and growth, take a moment to subscribe to Faith Light. Join this journey of spiritual enlightenment, and together we'll explore the mysteries of faith and divine purpose. Your presence here strengthens the light that overcomes every shadow. Divine justice is an art of subtlety, often working silently and beyond human comprehension. While we might crave immediate resolution when we face wrongdoers, God's timing operates on a higher plane. His ways are not our ways, and His plans often unfold over days, months, or even years, teaching lessons far more profound than any human response could deliver. When someone wrongs a chosen one, it may feel like injustice reigns, especially when their actions seem to prosper. But appearances are deceptive. Those who harm others out of envy or malice often sow seeds of their own undoing. The more they act from a place of bitterness, the more tangled they become in the web of their own making. Consider Joseph from the Bible. Sold into slavery by his envious brothers, he endured years of hardship. But in the end, God elevated him to a position of immense power and influence. His brothers, humbled by their circumstances, came to rely on the very person they sought to destroy. This story serves as a powerful reminder. Divine justice is not just about punishment, but about orchestrating events for the greater good. In our own lives, we might not see the entire picture when we're in the midst of conflict. Yet, when we trust in God and refrain from seeking revenge, we leave space for Him to act. By holding on to faith, we allow His justice to unfold in ways we never imagined. Enemies who act out of jealousy often fail to see how their actions mirror their inner turmoil. In their attempt to harm others, they expose their weaknesses and insecurities. This is why divine justice is so powerful. It reveals the truth while lifting the chosen to greater heights. The lesson for us is clear. Trust in God's timing and allow Him to work through the silence. Jealousy is often described as a seed that plants its own destruction, and nowhere is this more evident than in those who plot against others out of envy. The jealous person's focus on someone else's blessings blinds them to their own potential. They become so consumed by bitterness that they act impulsively, often creating the very circumstances that will lead to their downfall. Envy stems from a place of comparison, where individuals measure their worth by what others have, instead of appreciating their own journey. This leads to a mindset of scarcity, where they see blessings as limited and feel threatened by someone else's success. What they fail to realize is that their jealousy often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. By focusing their energy on undermining others, they neglect their own growth, leaving themselves vulnerable to failure. In many cases, the harm they attempt to inflict returns to them tenfold. For example, Haman in the Book of Esther built a gallows intended for Mordecai, only to be hanged on it himself. His jealousy and hatred blinded him to the reality that God's justice cannot be manipulated or escaped. In life, we may encounter people who try to block our progress out of envy, but their actions are like shadows, dark and fleeting. When we remain steadfast and trust in God, those shadows eventually dissipate, revealing the light of truth. The important lesson here is not to allow their envy to dim your purpose. Instead, continue to walk in faith, knowing that their bitterness will ultimately harm them far more than it could ever harm you. Enemies often act as mirrors, reflecting their insecurities and fears onto the people they target. When someone chooses to oppose a chosen one, it's usually because they see in that person something they lack, whether it's confidence, purpose, or faith. Instead of addressing their own shortcomings, they project their frustration outward, creating conflict where none should exist. This projection often takes the form of criticism, gossip, or sabotage. But beneath these actions lies a deeper truth. Their problem is not with you, but with themselves. By trying to tear you down, they are attempting to elevate themselves, though such efforts are always temporary and hollow. For the chosen, understanding this dynamic is essential. It allows you to rise above the pettiness and avoid being drawn into unnecessary battles. By seeing their actions as a reflection of their struggles rather than a true attack on your worth, you gain the power to respond with grace and composure. This understanding also fosters compassion. While it's not easy to feel empathy for those who harm you, recognizing their actions as a cry for help can shift your perspective. Instead of retaliating, you can focus on staying true to your path and allowing God to handle the rest. False accusations are a weapon often wielded by those who cannot confront their own shortcomings. For the chosen, being the target of such attacks can be deeply painful, as lies and distortions aim to tarnish their character. Yet the beauty of divine justice lies in its ability to reveal truth over time. While falsehoods may gain temporary traction, they ultimately crumble under the weight of reality. The Bible reminds us that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. This promise holds true, especially when faced with deceit. Those who spread lies often do so out of fear, jealousy, or a desire to shift focus away from their own flaws. However, in doing so, they entangle themselves in their own dishonesty. As the truth emerges, their credibility is destroyed, and they are left exposed for who they truly are. Consider the example of Daniel in the lion's den. His enemies conspired to have him punished unjustly, but their schemes ultimately backfired. Daniel's unwavering faith protected him, and his accusers faced the very fate they had intended for him. This story is a powerful testament to the fact that truth, guided by divine justice, always prevails. For those enduring false accusations, the lesson is to remain steadfast and let God fight your battles. Trying to clear your name through anger or retaliation often plays into the hands of your accusers. Instead, stand firm in your integrity and trust that time and truth will vindicate you. God's justice is not only thorough, but also transformative, turning even the darkest moments into opportunities for growth and triumph. Stillness is a profound strength, especially when faced with opposition. In a world that often demands immediate reactions, choosing to remain calm and patient allows divine justice to work unhindered. When enemies strike, the temptation to retaliate can be overwhelming, but the chosen understand the power of stepping back and letting God take control. This stillness is not passivity, it is a deliberate act of faith. By refusing to engage in conflict, you are declaring your trust in a higher power to resolve the situation. It also disarms your enemies, who often expect and even thrive on a reactive response. When you don't give them that satisfaction, they are left to confront the emptiness of their own actions. The Bible encourages us to be still and know that I am God. This is a call to surrender our battles to the one who sees all and knows all. In the stillness, we find clarity, strength, and the reassurance that we are never alone. It's in these moments of quiet trust that God works most powerfully, often bringing about resolutions we could never have achieved on our own. Stillness also allows us to grow spiritually. It teaches patience, humility, and the value of waiting on God's timing. In the end, the chosen don't need to fight every battle. Their faith and stillness are their greatest weapons, ensuring that victory is not just possible but inevitable. Jealousy and bitterness are corrosive forces, consuming those who harbor them long before they harm anyone else. When a person allows envy to take root in their heart, it grows unchecked, overshadowing their ability to see their own blessings. This toxic state not only clouds their judgment, but also drives them to act in ways that ultimately harm themselves more than their intended target. The jealous person lives in a state of constant dissatisfaction, measuring their worth by what others have rather than recognizing their own unique gifts. They become so focused on tearing others down that they neglect their own growth. This misdirected energy often leads to their downfall, as their bitterness isolates them from meaningful relationships and opportunities. From a spiritual perspective, bitterness is a poison that destroys the soul. It blinds people to the presence of God's grace in their lives, making them ungrateful and disconnected from their purpose. The Bible warns against allowing a root of bitterness to grow, as it defiles everything it touches. Those who fail to heed this warning find themselves trapped in a cycle of frustration and failure. The chosen, however, are called to rise above these emotions. By maintaining a heart of gratitude and focusing on their God-given purpose, they remain immune to the corrosive effects of jealousy. When faced with the bitterness of others, they respond with grace, understanding that their enemies' actions are a reflection of their own inner turmoil. This perspective not only brings peace but also allows the chosen to continue walking in their calling, unaffected by the negativity around them. God has a way of turning the tables, often in ways that no one expects. Those who plot against the chosen may appear to succeed for a time, but their victories are always short-lived. Divine justice ensures that every action taken against God's people ultimately works for their good. This reversal of fortune is not just poetic, it is a testament to the power of faith and the sovereignty of God. Throughout history and scripture, we see countless examples of this principle in action. Joseph's rise from slavery to rulership, Esther's triumph over Haman, and David's victory over Saul are all reminders that God's plans cannot be thwarted. The same holds true in our lives today. When we trust in Him, even the most dire circumstances can be transformed into blessings. Enemies often underestimate the resilience and faith of the chosen. They believe that their actions will lead to harm, not realizing that they are merely instruments in God's greater plan. In the end, their schemes collapse, and the chosen emerge stronger and more faithful than before. This turning of the tables is not just about vindication. It is about revealing God's glory and His ability to redeem any situation. For the chosen, the lesson is clear. Stay the course. Don't be discouraged by temporary setbacks or the actions of those who oppose you. Trust that God is working behind the scenes, and in His perfect timing, He will lift you up while humbling those who sought to bring you down. Enemies, though often difficult to face, can be some of life's greatest teachers. Their actions challenge us to grow, to remain steadfast in our faith, and to deepen our reliance on God. While their intentions may be harmful, God uses their opposition to refine and strengthen us, preparing us for the greater purpose He has planned. Every trial brought on by an enemy is an opportunity for growth. Their criticism teaches us resilience, their jealousy reminds us of our worth, and their opposition pushes us closer to God. Without these challenges, we might grow complacent, losing sight of our calling. Instead, the presence of adversaries keeps us sharp, focused, and spiritually grounded. It's important to remember that enemies are often placed in our lives for a reason. Their presence is not random, but allowed by God as part of His divine plan. By shifting our perspective, we can see them not as obstacles, but as instruments of growth. This doesn't mean we should seek out conflict or welcome harm, but rather that we should trust God to use every situation for our good. When we respond to our enemies with forgiveness and faith, we demonstrate the power of God's love. This not only disarms their hostility, but also serves as a powerful witness to the transformative power of grace. In the end, it's not about defeating our enemies, but about becoming stronger, wiser, and more faithful through the challenges they present. In the intricate design of life, even the actions of our enemies serve a purpose. Their schemes, though meant for harm, are often used by God to bring about growth, strength, and deeper faith in our lives. The struggles they create are temporary, but the lessons we learn and the victories we achieve are eternal. Remember, being chosen comes with challenges. The higher your calling, the stronger the opposition you will face. But don't let the actions of others distract you from your purpose. Stay focused, trust in God, and walk with the confidence that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Your silence, faith, and steadfastness allow divine justice to unfold in ways that go beyond human understanding. Let this message be a reminder. You are not alone in your journey. Every trial, every challenge, every opposition is part of a larger plan. God sees your struggles, hears your prayers, and knows your heart. Trust in His timing and let Him handle your battles. The victory is already yours. It's just waiting to be revealed. If this message has touched your spirit, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to Faith Light and join us as we continue to explore the profound truths of faith and the incredible ways God works in our lives. Share this journey with others who might need encouragement, and let's grow together in wisdom, faith, and purpose. Until we meet again, walk boldly in your calling, stay faithful in your journey, and never let anyone dim the light that God has placed within you. The road may not always be easy, but it is always worth it. Stay chosen, stay strong, and let your faith light the way.